Now what will it be? Death or exile?
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the TV Exiles. This week we are concluding our look at the HBO series Watchmen. As with all this season's reviews, we will be going into spoilers as we discuss how the story came together in the finale. So let's get into episode 9. And let's start with the very brief official synopsis from HBO. Everything ends, for real this time, in the season finale. My ongoing question every week this season has been, is this Watchmen? And finally, as we bring these episodes to a close, I feel that yes, this was definitely Watchmen. So many plot points converge, so many places and characters from the graphic novel show up to really ground the show in the universe designed by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. This episode opens in 2008 with Lady True traveling to Antarctica to introduce herself to Adrian Veidt, who we had just learned through a flashback is the unknowing father to Lady True, as her mother stole and implanted herself with a sample of Ozymandias' semen. She notifies him of his parentage and asks him for help to save the world again. He is obviously upset with the whole situation, refuses to ever call her his daughter, and tells her that she can find her own success and fund her Save the World project on her own. We then move back to Europa sometime later, just as a spacecraft is arriving to rescue Adrian and return him to Earth. He is brought on board and told to enter a chamber to be cryogenically frozen for the trip home, but is placed in a hero pose. He is then sprayed with a gold substance that freezes him in place, and we are revealed that this was sometime in the last few years, and that he has been back on Earth as a statue in Lady True's garden this whole time. As we change to present day, the 7th Cavalry, we see their master plan all coming together as the leaders of the Cyclops arrive to watch Senator Keene kill Dr. Manhattan and absorb his powers. Laurie Blake is there to watch, and Looking Glass is disguised as cavalrymen in a Rorschach mask. Keene begins his speech and strips down to reveal he's wearing the same underwear that Dr. Manhattan is known for wearing, and get a few great lines from Laurie as she belittles him for it. Angela arrives just before the transfer and warns them that they are playing right into Lady True's plan and that it will not end well for Keene and the cavalry. And obviously Angela is right, and after turning on the machine, they find themselves teleported to the center of town. Lady True arrives to take over, and when she goes to release Senator Keene from the transfer chamber, is all but unsurprised when she sees that he's been turned into a liquid. As Lady True prepares to take Dr. Manhattan's powers for herself, she upholds her part of the deal with Will, Angela's grandfather, and kills the leaders of Cyclops. Dr. Manhattan finds a way to use his powers to teleport Adrian, Laurie, and Wade to Karnak in an attempt to find a way to stop Lady True. Only Angela is left, and in a heartbreaking moment, he admits that he left her behind as he didn't want to die alone. The scene continues as Lady True successfully transfers her power to his ship, destroys Dr. Manhattan, and awaits the transfer of his energy into herself. But Adrian has found a way to stop her by making it rain the baby squids we've seen this season, but frozen solid to enact some massive damage to Lady True's ship, equipment, and person. It's with this, just seconds before receiving Manhattan's power, she is crushed by her own ship crashing down on her. The episode closes with Angela back at home, remembering John's comment about being able to transfer his powers into an object to be consumed by another person. It was at the same time that a carton of eggs was crushed, but we see that only one was unharmed. And in the final moment, we see that Angela consumed the one raw egg, stepped out onto the water of a pool, with the screen cutting to black just before her foot touches the water, leaving us with the cliffhanger wondering if it worked. From a technical standpoint, this episode definitely had the most budget to work with. Most of the season has been rather restrained on the use of heavy visual effects work, but we had so much more that happened in this episode. Everything looked and sounded great. Nothing at all stood out as fake or cheesy to break that sense of immersion. And obviously, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's score continued to be excellent, and in the end, I did feel that it fit the material very well. In place of Easter eggs this week, I just want to go over my thoughts on how the season and possibly series ended. While I felt the finale was good, I feel the season as a whole meandered a bit too much. Too many things happen that are just easy to forget. Some subplots don't feel like they have a reason for happening. Too much ground is repeated, just from another perspective. After the first couple of episodes having some great action sequences, there is a noticeable shift to being more drama heavy, which is fine, but it was maybe too jarring of a shift. On the positive side, there were a great number of stellar performances all around. Regina King was great, but I felt she may have been outshined by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Tim Blake Nelson, Jeremy Irons, and Gene Smart. Overall, the world did feel like a real-world natural progression of the graphic novel, while mixing in some solid social commentary on where we are today as a society. The show had some really great references to the source material and a few really shining moments, like the depiction of the squid drop on New York from the graphic novel. Part of me would have loved to see the story continue from the end of the film, and not just because I love it, but because the live action following live action makes a little bit more sense from an audience perspective. Either way, choosing to follow the book instead was never a bad decision, except maybe it made the show more confusing to people that did not know the ending of the original story as opposed to the film, maybe making it a little bit more inaccessible. Ultimately, the only thing I think that might have worked better would have been to see the show as a long film or a short miniseries, as instead of a longer format show where the story can get a bit bloated. There is no word on if a season 2 is happening. Damon Lindelof has stated that it was a standalone story and not something designed to continue. Although I'm sure there have been discussions on where to take the story if and when HBO decides to continue it. Either way, I'm happy with the final product on its own, but would be interested in more if the creative team has a story they feel is worth telling. Well, that's it. Thank you for joining me on this 9-week journey. I look forward to joining the discussion on the series as a whole with the rest of the Exiles. And that will do it for this review series, and until next time, stay exiled.